Okay, you are very, very welcome. This is Pastor Richard of Excellus Chapel, and this is the real life class or real life issues. Real life issues, and together with me, I have a great panel. Great panel. I have a mother here. Please introduce yourself, the mother in the team.
Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Elena Magongo. I am a mother of 5. I am a leader at Excellus Chapel International, and I'm very happy to be on this show this afternoon. Thank you.
Wonderful. And then we have an expert, ECD, and she will tell us what ECD is. Let's welcome her. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Pastor, and thank you so much, our viewers. It's always a joy to be here. My name is Teacher Diana, and I work with children. And I basically work with early years children. That's basically 3 to 4, 5, 6 years old.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And then we have a writer. She's written several poems. She's written stories. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Nisi, a P7 Vakist, and I'm writing stories and poems in my vacation.
Wonderful. You're all very, very welcome. I've read some of Nisi's poems, and there's one that I'm really interested in, and a story that she's writing, and maybe she'll talk about that story, the body in the canteen. Is it the body in the canteen? Just tell us about the body in the canteen. Precisely, what do you want us to learn from that?
In this story, there is a girl called Lily who decided to have a change of restaurants and go to a different restaurant to have her lunch.
Yeah.
So she didn't know the place of the restaurant, so she decided to follow some people who are going to that restaurant.
Yeah.
Then when she went to the restaurant, they received her and then gave her a table. Then she saw the 3 men she followed drag someone into the gents' bathroom.
Men dragged her to the...
No.
Hey.
The men dragged a man to the gents' bathroom.
Uh-huh. And she was watching.
Yes, so
Yeah.
she decided to follow and see what was going on.
Stop there. She might have been the body. Let's stop it there. So this program is about, last week we are here, the 4 of us, and we are discussing the topic. The topic was parents are responsible for the madness of their children. Maybe I'll ask someone to just push the speaker on the other side so that we don't get the echo. Then in the name of Jesus. Yes. So we're discussing the topic, parents are responsible for the madness of their children. And here I have a mother, I have a daughter, a child, and she will tell us from a child's perspective, a mother from a mother's perspective, but we also have a teacher, ECD teacher, who will also be talking from the expert of a teacher. We made some summaries. Teacher D, could you just read for us point number 1 that we read?
Okay.
Yeah.
Point number 1 we read was parents who give their children everything they ask for. Their children will grow up thinking they have a right to what they want.
Say something about it.
Yeah, so we talked, we were not really so much into agreement with it because it's something not really very right for parents to do. I mean, not everything that your child asks you're going to give them.
Yeah.
It's not really a right thing to do. So we encourage parents to not really to just give everything their children ask for.
The mother, you want to just add on something small on that?
So what we discussed last week, we were encouraging parents to ensure that we teach our children that not every time they ask for something, the answer will be a yes. Because when it becomes a yes all the time, they get this sense of entitlement, and they do not learn how to wait and how to have the value
or the principle of knowing that sometimes it will be a no and
Yeah.
it should be okay
Yeah.
if it's a no, because the parent has their best interest at heart, and therefore when they say no, there is a reason why the answer is a no.
Fantastic. Nisi, could you read for us point number 2? What does it say?
It says parents
Just switch off the mic, yeah?
Parents who laugh when their children speak foul language against others, especially older persons. Children grow up thinking disrespect is normal and fun.
Yes. Mommy says something about this.
Again, last week, to recap our discussion, we said that parents are supposed to be responsible for the way their children speak
Yeah.
and the way they relate to others. So if a parent hears, let's say your child speaking something very negative or bad to another child, and you laugh it off because it's your child saying it to another person and not the other way around, you're teaching that child to be disrespectful.
Okay.
So we were encouraging parents that we need to learn how to discipline our children,
Yeah.
and to make sure that they do not speak foul language.
Okay, so what we are ideally saying, that when parents see their children do these things and they don't talk about it, they don't address it, they don't discipline them, or they don't show them the alternative, then whatever that kid turns out to be, it's the responsibility of the parent.
That's right.
But I also wanted to add something to it, that there's what they call frame of reference. Frame of reference are the different situations that shape you in your life. For example, you go to school, you meet your peers, you go to church, the community you're in, and some of these may not be your parents, but there is a way these things shape your behavior. Nisi, what do you say about that? That there are other things other than your parents that can shape your character.
Yes, there are other things that can shape our character. One of them is the television.
Yes.
Because if we keep watching movies that have bad words, we shall also pick the bad words from the movies.
Okay. So it's like you're saying, while there are all these other frames of reference, there's a school, there's television, there's the community, the parent must stay on top of all of them and be able to guide the children the best way. At the end of the day, they say you're the English teacher. Charity does what?
Begins at home.
Yeah, what does it mean exactly? Because I know that statement, but I don't know the deep understanding. Charity begins at home.
Yeah, well, I think that, every, kind of disciplining children, everything, like manners, it really begins at home.
Okay.
So when a child, maybe in a society, somehow, does bad things,
Yes.
they'll still go back and look at the parents. They
Okay.
still will definitely go back and look at the mom, look at the parent, and they will definitely have questions, on the parenting of the child.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like we are saying, no matter where the child has picked up the behavior, it finally comes back to the parents.
Exactly.
Okay. Then we read number 3, mother of 5. Could you just read that number 3 for us?
Number 3 says, parents who do not reprimand children for bad behavior, their children grow up thinking that there are no rules in society.
Throw some light.
So this is very important, because if your child keeps doing wrong and you don't show them the right way to go, even the Bible tells us that spare the rod and spoil the child.
Yeah.
So the Bible also encourages us to discipline our children. Even God, our Father, disciplines us. The Bible says that God disciplines us because he loves us. So if you think that by not disciplining your child, it is a way of showing them too much love, then as our theme for this show says, you are responsible for your child's madness.
Okay.
But I wanted to add a quick one on
Yes.
the framework of reference.
Yes.
I think that's where the value system comes in. We might not do much in terms of limiting what children are exposed to,
Yeah.
but we can do a lot in terms of building a value system in the children.
Okay.
So when you do that, it means that this child grows knowing that even if this thing is, flashing across my eyes, let's say television, in this home, or as I've been guided by my parents,
Yeah.
this is the way I am supposed to conduct myself.
So you're saying a value system becomes a sieve for this child, and they're able to know, let me leave this, let me pick up this. So the value system establishes that. You want to say something about values?
Maybe I can
Okay.
say something. very
Yes,
small,
please
like,
say
What
something.
Mommy has said is very true.
Yeah.
Because at some point, these children are going to leave home and they're going to be on their own.
Yeah.
So whatever values that you've instilled in them, they'll definitely help them, like as they go about different things in life. Yeah.
But now I've also, you being a teacher, my own children, when we tell them something, they say, teacher said this, teacher said that. Teacher. So how do we
Yes.
deal with the value system we're giving them at home and what the teacher is telling them to do?
Well, I believe that whatever the teacher is also telling the child is very right, and it is so parents should actually not also be worried about the values that teachers put in the children, because as a teacher, I would definitely say something that is right to a child.
Okay.
So that should not at some point worry the parent. So a parent should just have to continue to do your role.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we talk about parents here, are we referring to biological parents, or we're also referring to the parent teacher, parent guardian, parent biological? Are we also accommodating all those, or we are specifically focusing on the biological parent of these children?
Well, I think on all, because some children, they stay with their biological parents, but then there are others who don't have biological parents. So we are talking about, this all goes to everyone who is like
A parent.
yes, who is like a parent, and you're taking care of a child. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
I agree with Teacher Diana. This cuts across because all of us, there are different people that God brings our way,
Yeah.
and God expects us to do something in their life. So that ranges from the children that you have biologically given birth to. It also ranges to spiritual children
Yeah.
as leaders in church. A teacher also has a parenting role at a school, because at school, this child is being taken care of by this teacher.
Wonderful.
So it goes beyond biological parents.
Okay, so I'm going to read this, and Nisi will say something about it, because number 4 says parents who cover up their children's misdeeds or mistakes. So this parent covers up. Their children grow up thinking they can do and undo with impunity, means without consideration. They're not thinking about anybody else. They think what I'm doing is right. What I'm doing is right. And then they say that they won't have to give account of their mistakes. So would you want your parents to cover you and protect you when you've surely done something wrong? Would you want me to stand with you? Or you want me to stand with the person punishing you? Tell me, what's your thoughts as yeah.
For me, as a child, I would not like it when the parent stands with me when they know I have done something wrong. Because when I grow up, I will grow up knowing that what I do, whether wrong or right, my parents will always stand with me. So I will find it hard to cope with other people who their parents taught them well, and they know what's right and what's wrong.
Wow. So you're saying, however painful it is, I would rather stand with the truth and not stand with the wrong.
Yes.
Wonderful. Mommy, do you want to say something more about that before you go to number 5? Yep.
Very important point, and it's a very big temptation for certain parents, especially those who think that spanking a child or disciplining a child is showing that you don't really love them. Every time you cover up for the wrong of your child, you're teaching them how to lie.
Yeah.
You're teaching them how to be unfaithful, and you're teaching them injustice,
Yeah.
because you are telling them that you can always beat the system. So even when they grow up and they are employed or they are married, when something does not go right, they will find a way to beat the system, because that's the message you sent to this child when you tried to cover up for their wrong.
Do you think that's why we have too much corruption in the country?
It's very possible.
Okay, Teacher D, you're going to tell us this. Parents who stop watching television because their children cry when they change channels. Children will grow up without a sense of respect for older persons. Those kids, I saw something on WhatsApp, and there was a baby who was sleeping, and the baby had even crossed his legs. And I think it was a parent saying, this guy doesn't pay bills here, but try to catch the remote and change the channel. You'll see what this child is made of. Tell us about these tantrums.
Well, I believe that is very common in the little ones and not common in the ages of Nisi. Not so. Yes. So, the little ones, I think it's better, like for them to be trained. And one of the things that I've learned as an ECD teacher is that when you talk to these children and you show them right from the beginning and you be consistent, they'll definitely adjust. Those moments will be there, like for the first time, when you take off the TV and then they cry, it will be there for the first time. But a parent, you have to make sure that, okay, how am I going to handle this? Because it's actually very bad. It's not a good thing. Like, okay, you remove the TV and then a child starts crying. So that's actually starts to, like, you should actually start questioning your parenting skills as a parent. So it's better that you set a routine for this child. You know, we are going to watch TV at this time. The child in their mind will try to adjust that, okay, at this time, we watch TV. When it's time for food, I have to take TV off. Like, as time goes on, because as you a parent, you've built the consistency and the child has adjusted. The crying when you remove the TV, the crying when you change the channel, it will not be there because you've trained them. Like, they have grown to the routine that you've brought into the house.
Yeah, Nisi, I want you to speak into this TV thing, but I'll also ask Mommy to speak about parents who then buy TVs and put them into their children's bedrooms. So the parent has a TV in their bedroom, there's one in the sitting room, but every child also has their own TV. But before you answer that, talk about TVs. How do you handle TV in your home? How do your parents handle TV?
For us, we have a timetable when to watch TV and when not to watch. So we watch in the evening, like at around 5:30, and then at 10. And then the rest of the days, the rest of the hours when we are not watching TV, we'll be doing our housework or something creative.
Okay.
Yes.
So that means you're agreeing with Teacher D that there must be a routine. Doesn't this routine affect you as children? Don't you sit back and say, but these parents are being hard on us? We're in vacation. We're in holiday. We're supposed to watch TV throughout. What do you think? Just speak into that. Maybe some of your siblings speak that way.
Maybe she needs to tell us how she really feels about it, and not to say otherwise, because Mommy and Daddy are here. So you need to tell us how you feel about it.
Okay. For me, I don't really like it, but we are supposed to go by the timetable.
Okay, and that's very interesting that not everything we do, we may like to do it that way, but because there is a culture and discipline being developed in us. Fantastic. Okay, Mommy, talk about parents who choose to buy television stations for their children in their rooms and not have one central one in the sitting room.
I think that is a way of, I would say, it is a form of failed parenting. Why do I say so? Because by the time you do that, it means you have failed to create a discipline of how you can all utilize this television for the benefit of the family. First of all, a living room is supposed to be a place where parents come, talk to their children. It's supposed to be an opportunity to be able to discipline, to be able to groom these children. So when you reach a point where you say, I think I am hindered from watching my programs, I'm being inconvenienced, and you end up putting different sets, television sets in different places, so that there is no restriction. So basically what you're trying to do is that I do not want to be hindered. And in that way, you're going to not know what your children are watching.
Yeah.
So even the little control that you will have over what they are watching is lost. Because if a child goes to sleep,
Yeah.
will you come and stand behind the door and listen if the TV is on? So for me, it's a form of failed parenting, and it's also a loss of opportunity for a parent to be able to watch, mentor, groom, and also be able to have that bonding with your children, which is very important, because when you miss on that bonding time, there are certain things you're not going to hear and you will not be able to correct.
That's indeed. For me, I personally think watching TV with the children and being able to point out scenes where people are kissing or people where engaging into acts that we feel at that point we should come in and explain what things are. So watching TV with the children has been an advantage in that I use that as a time to explain a few things to them, because the TV will show it. And remember this very story, and I think you watched it, that a parent had a remote and there were people, kissing and making love, and the parent was running to forward that part of the movie. And the children looked at her and said, "But mommy, we watched this movie 3 times. So whether you're forwarding or not, we've already done what? Watched." And yet, so if the parent had prepared these kids, she wouldn't or he wouldn't be fidgeting with a remote, because he has already built a value system. So I'm also strictly against people who have TVs in different rooms for the kids. But Teacher D, talk about, it's not now the TVs. Children by P7, they want phones. Now, online classes for 2 years. I saw that Facebook thing. I think it was a WhatsApp. The kid had hidden a phone in the textbook. So as the parent comes, "What are you watching?" She opens the page. But when the parent goes away, she goes back on the phone and she Google watching all the other sorts of things. How do we deal with that now? How do we deal with that now?
I think it still goes back to the value system that a parent does,
Yeah.
because at some point you're not going to stop the child from learning different things wherever, but still the values that you've instilled in this child, I think they'll still help the child. Yeah, but as a parent, you have to continue your role. I mean,
Yes.
mentoring, instilling those values in the child.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Mommy to talk about, because she was laughing at this point. It seems one of her kids did it. Please say something about that.
That's a very interesting point to talk about, but I'll approach it this way. I have heard of parents who have said phones are evil, they are spoiling children, and I've just been thinking during this lockdown, we are now having Zoom classes, and if you have a big family like ours where you have 5 children and all of them are on Zoom, those are equivalent to 5 gadgets. So we can no longer lock ourselves in that era where we say phones are evil, they are not, they are a luxury, they are not needed. Phones are useful. They are important. In this era where everything is going digital, children need to be equipped to know how to use phones, to know how to log into a Zoom call. But the most important thing, again, it goes back to the value system and disciplining your children.
Yeah.
The children should know that this phone should be used to build me.
Yeah.
And I want to share an experience of one of our sons when he finished his P7 vacation. When he was in his P7 vacation, he asked for a phone. We got him a small phone, and he used that phone to self-teach himself. So out of that, he's been able to learn a number of things, and he's been able to learn how to design websites. So that is how a phone should be used.
Okay.
So if a child is going to, the problem comes in when a child wants to wake up and the first thing they do is to go to the phone.
Yeah.
They are taking breakfast, they are on the phone. They are having lunch, they are on the phone. That becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So there should be regulation, but we should not keep the phones away.
Okay. Miss, you've written an article about phones and how they can be useful. Do you want to say something briefly?
Yes.
And I'm told you sent it to even an international conference. Just tell us how that article has influenced this discussion.
That article has influenced this discussion because one of the things I read in that article is how my 15-year-old brother was able to self-teach himself and how he began making money through what he self-taught himself. And in that article, I also included the importances of phones and the bad side about phones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful. I remember one family, the mother prepares the dinner table and she tells people, hey, guys, the table is set, and no one responded. She went, picked her phone, and sent a WhatsApp on the family page. Everybody ran to the table. Everybody ran to the table. So these are things we are living with, and I don't know how we can deal with those things. But point number 6 that I want to read, and then we can end. Parents who let their children listen to music that objectivizes women, encourages sex and violence. You can't show thorns. You can't sow thorns and reap cotton. Can you? Teacher D, say something about this, and then Mommy will come in.
This also goes back to the value system, like everything that you do at home, everything, like, okay, sometimes we take like music really so lightly, but everything that you do at home, like whatever activity that you do at home, just know that children are going to be influenced. So that the parents have to oftentimes do a self-check, like, okay, what kind of music are we doing at home? What kind of like music are we playing at home? Because everything that comes before the children, because they learn, they want to know more about like different things that happen. Everything that comes to their ear, there's something that will stick into their mind.
And they say so music is a universal language.
So it goes back still to the parents, because okay, I grew up like, okay, my mom is a Christian. She loves, and she's a singer. She loves singing so much, very, very much. But then at home, we used to have a bar. But because, okay, my mom was this kind of a lady who, like, loves church. So somehow I got attracted to the fact that she goes to church and she's a singer. So even up to now, like listening to other kind of music, I'm not really so much interested. Like I find myself like when I'm at home going about the different things that I do, I find just all of a sudden, I just find myself playing like Christian music, different kind of music that is building me up. So it still goes back to the parents. Like
so your mother influenced you that way. Wow. I know, Mommy, you used to like dancing a bit. Talk to us about this music thing, because it seems if the video doesn't have naked women, if a video doesn't have, and half-dressed people, it doesn't sell. And this is what our children are watching. Talk about this. How do we maintain our dancing skills and also still enjoy music?
I always tell people that the way we used to dance when we were young, and the way that people dance now is really different. Even the music is different. For instance, I'll give you an example. Someone begins singing and he says, is it dwa dwa dwa? Dwa dwa dwa. And I'm like, okay, what am I picking from that song? So the music that your children listen to should be something, as Teacher Diana said, is building them up. And like you've said, it's very unfortunate that these days, even when they're advertising for a pen, it has to be a naked woman or a half-dressed woman. So what are we teaching our children? How are we teaching them to value women, to value, and the girls to value themselves? Do you have to be naked for you to look beautiful, or for you to be recognized?
Yeah.
So it goes back to a value system again, where parents need to tell their children that you don't have to walk half naked for you to be recognized or to be appreciated as a beautiful girl.
Yes.
You can still dress decently, you can still speak well, and you will still be recognized for who you are.
Yeah.
So the value system is very core as we raise children. And the music that they listen to should be music that is going to influence them positively.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not only music, even the movies they are watching. I think we all remember something that went around viral. I think it happened in Kenya, where a young boy who had been reading a novel of how to kill, to become a serial killer, something like that, ended up destroying his entire family. So we cannot undermine what our children watch, what they listen to. It trickles down to their mind.
Yeah.
It affects their emotions, and it will influence their actions.
Wonderful. Nisi, what have they told you at school about those genders, the female gender and the male gender? How should the male respect the women, and how can the women respect the boys? Have they talked to you about it in your school?
Yes. For us, they told us as girls we are supposed to dress decently.
Yeah.
Because if we dress, our teacher told us that if we dress in short skirts and whatever, everywhere we go, people will be looking at us saying, this one has good legs, this one has a good what? Good hands, good dresses, good clothes. So our teacher told us that whatever we wear, it's not supposed to be above the knees.
Wow.
So the dresses we choose or the skirts we pick, they are supposed to be slightly below the knees.
Okay.
Yes.
So your good parts stay with you, not for the public.
No.
Okay. Verse 7. I just like Ado, one of my young boys here, when he's bathing and hiding, and say, why are you hiding? He said, all of us have private parts. So that's why he keeps hiding. Not verse 7. Point 7. Teacher D, can you introduce point 7?
Point 7 says parents who give their children money whenever they want.
Yeah.
Such kids will grow up thinking money is easy and would steal when they can't get it correctly.
Okay, say something about money. Teachers, because you guys, when we bring children at school, you tell them, give them enough pocket money. So they give them 1 million shillings pocket money.
Oh, really?
Hey, I'm telling you, when they come into school, it's like they have gone with a supermarket.
Well, for my case, because I basically deal with EC children,
Yes.
so they normally pack for them like, okay, foodstuffs, not really money. But just to go back to the point that parents who give their children money whenever they want, such kids will grow up thinking money is easy and would steal when they can't get it correctly. I think it's okay, it's not really very bad to give money, but you have to regulate, you have to moderate. And also the fact that, instead of actually giving money, I like the way Pastor has groomed his children. Like when I look at Shalom, and like so many things he has learned because you've given him a skill. You've not given cash, you've not given him cash, like, okay, Shalom, this is your cash, but you've put that cash into paying someone who is going to skill him, to give him a skill that when he gets that skill, he can actually learn how to make money by himself.
Okay.
So it is important for parents that instead of giving money, yes, you can give money, but you can also like give your child a skill.
Okay.
Pay money. Now that children are like, they are not at school, so it's actually a good opportunity for parents to pay money for the children so that they can learn different skills.
Hey,
Yes.
Mommy, I've heard of parents who say when a children cleans the house, when they pick rubbish at home, when they do, pay them money. Give them 10,000. Give them this. What's your opinion about that? But also talking to the boarding school, pocket money, and also this. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not bad to
Yeah.
give children money when they do something.
Yeah.
But if they are going to be paid for every housework they are doing, you are telling them, you're basically telling them to learn not to work if they are not paid. So even though we want to teach them the importance of money and the value of working and that things don't come easy, it is important for a parent to clearly stipulate or discuss with the children the activities that they can do that are payable
Yeah.
for and those that are not.
Okay.
For instance, I should not pay a child for washing plates that they've used to have lunch. But if I normally take my car out for washing and my children wash it, it is okay for me to give them that 10,000 or that 15,000,
Which you should have given the
which
other
I
guys.
would have taken the other side. But for the day-to-day things, mopping, washing cups, laying their beds, it is not right for us to pay the children because you will be telling them, don't work if you're not paid. Then regarding the issue of pocket money for children who are in boarding school, it's very important again for us to give a very reasonable pocket money. And I know when I say reasonable, it
It
varies
varies from one person to
from
another.
one parent to another.
Yes.
But the pocket money should be sufficient for this child not to hunger while they're at school and to have enough they can share with their fellow children, but not for them to have excess or too much money that they can now use to begin doing things that you would not want them to do as a parent.
Fantastic.
So the regulation there is very, very important.
Good. Nisi, I want to ask you, you're going to boarding school, like how much pocket money would you like? Well, how much would you want us to give you? In your opinion?
Daddy, it depends on the length of the term.
Yeah.
Yes. If, let's say, we are going for 3 months, maybe if I'm using 1,000 every single day,
Yeah.
and there maybe they can give me like 60,000 so that I can budget
Okay.
for the days. Then if it's more than that, they can, if the parent is very generous, they can give like 80 stuff.
Okay. So what you're saying, we can calculate how many days you're going you're going to be away, and we know how much you spend on a particular day, and then we multiply that for the number of days. That's what you're saying. But you've also told me that some of the pocket money we give you, even when you're still in day school, you used to save it and use it. What motivated you to? So why didn't you eat this money and enjoy life?
Daddy, because some of me and Alpha, Rohi and Ado, we also want to buy gadgets.
So
for
these are your
ourselves.
siblings you're mentioning here?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We also want to buy gadgets for ourselves, the latest technology stuff. So we also have to save, not that we are going to keep relying on other people to buy them for us. So we have to save, and when that amount of money reaches, then we can
Then you
buy.
scare your parents. Okay, that's interesting. So I think what Nis is saying to us, that when we give them that money, we should also have taught them a saving culture. That you don't have to eat everything. You can learn how to save and get yourself something that you really like. So it's not just giving them money, but give your children the money and also teach them the skill of saving. Okay, the last one.
To add something on what
Yes.
Mrs. said about budgeting.
Yeah.
It's very important, for instance, like she said, to use the length of the term
Yeah.
and to have that discussion with your child on average, how much are you going to spend every day?
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, if I'm buying something addition to what the snacks that I've taken to school, if I'm buying something additional that I would like to add to my break,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm buying something at lunch, and maybe in the evening, that would be this much per day.
Yeah.
And then you multiply that, and then you give them an allowance in case they need to
Plus or minus. To do
plus or
something.
minus,
Yeah.
yes. So that will also teach the child to know how to use the money in a regulated way, because there are also children who go to school and in 1 week they are borrowing the teacher's phone
Yeah.
to call back home because all the pocket money has been finished.
Exhausted,
So when
yeah.
you have that discussion, then the child will know that, okay, this money is going to take me through the month
Yeah.
until the next visitation day.
Fantastic,
Yeah.
fantastic. And of course, in addition to that, they have the grab and they have all those other things. So the last one, and I will start with Teacher D, and then we come round. Point 8: parents who always decide everything in favor of their children, whether they are right or wrong. Their children will grow up thinking that every correction is persecution. Say something about that, Teacher D, and then we.
Well, not every correction is persecution.
Yeah.
So children need to learn. They need to learn and adjust. So it's and parents should not. I want to change this sentence that parents should not decide everything in the favor of their children, whether they are right or not. So they should not. It's not the right thing to do. Yeah. So and parents and children need to learn that when a parent corrects you, it's not that they hate you. It's not that they don't like you, but it's because probably you've done something that is not right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who am I to argue with the ECD teacher? Parents, what do you say about this point 8? Parents who always decide everything. Parents who always decide everything in favor of their children, whether they are right or wrong, but you're always on your child never does anything wrong. It seems everything is right.
Yeah, so there are times, I think it goes back to the growth curve and the parenting curve.
Yeah.
So there are times when a child is still very, very young, the parent tends to make all decisions for the child.
Yeah.
But as they grow, you reach a point where it's now a discussion. And at some point, it is now a parent listening to the opinion of the child.
Yeah.
Or maybe like an adolescent or a young boy or girl who is now getting into university. You might not tell them everything to do. So it's very important for us parents to realize that. And for us parents, each time we discipline, it should be clear why we are disciplining.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the disciplining should be moderate. It should be in line with what the child has done. For instance, if a child, let's say, breaks a glass, and it's really a
Common thing.
Yeah, it can happen. How are you going to discipline that child versus if they jumped over the fence and ran out for maybe a night party? So again, the punishment should be in line with what they have done, but it should also be very clear why the child is being disciplined.
Okay.
Because that is when they will know, okay, I did this and this is how I was disciplined. I don't need to do it again.
Okay. Nisi, any thoughts you've picked from this particular topic? This last point that you want to voice out?
I think parents who decide everything in favor of their children, I think that children will grow up thinking that my parent decided for me this when I was young. That means I should also do it to my children when I give birth to them. So I think that children will cop bad behavior from the parents through through what the parents of those children.
Yeah, they pick up this bad behavior and they end up passing it over to their fellow children.
Yes.
Yes. But you know, what I've seen from you children, you always want us to be in your favor all the time. You never seem to accept the no. How do you advise your fellow children outside there? Because we need to advise them that when the parent says yes, accept the yes. When they say no to this, also take it in good faith that they mean well. So give some advice to your children as your parting shot.
I think it's okay for parents to say no when the children ask for something. Like if the parents don't have money and the children have been wanting this for a long time and they keep on asking and asking. Sometimes the parents tend to get angry and then they won't even give it to you. So I think the children should also understand that it's okay for the parents to say no, and it's also okay for them to give you when they want.
Okay. And God does that also. He never gives us the things that we ask for immediately. Sometimes it could take a year or two. Abraham asked for a child. It came after 25 years. Teacher D, your parting shot on this topic. Parents are responsible for the madness of their children.
Thank you so much, Pastor. My parting shots are I would like to encourage the parents, basing on a certain scripture in the Bible. We all know that scripture. It's Proverbs 22:6.
Yeah.
Train up a child in a way that you want them to grow. And when they grow up, they'll definitely not depart from that way. So get those values. Create a value system in your home. And when you do that and you're consistent, trust me, even when children grow up and they find different things, negative things, they'll always stick to the values that you've instilled in them.
Okay.
God bless you.
Pastor Elena, your parting shots?
We cannot fully determine what our children will become in the future. But as parents, we have a role to play.
Yeah.
We need to do our part to ensure that we instill in our children a value system that will guide them through their adult life. What they become, we can't determine.
Yeah.
But we cannot run away from our role as parents.
Yeah.
It is ours to do, and we leave the rest to God. So let's do active parenting and not passive parenting.
Okay. And those were our views, and we are saying the parents are responsible for the madness of their children. We've shared our views. What is your view? Type your comment in that page below after this program, and subscribe to the Excellence Chapel page, and just type in your comment, and let's see your views. Let's hear your views, and we shall be back next week with another interesting topic. God bless you. This is Pastor Richard. There's Nisi, there's Elena, and Teacher D. God richly bless you. We love you. This is Excellence Chapel, and stay tuned for next week's program. Bye-bye.